Okay, everybody, welcome to Arsenal Fan Circle here. And, something that we've done in previous seasons. Something we've done in previous seasons is the pre-game warm-up show, the lineup prediction. And I'll put on the bottom down here I must stress, what I am predicting will be the lineup here. I'll put it on the ticker tape at the bottom here. But this is going to be an interesting one. We don't know what Mikel Arteta is who he's going to pick due to suspensions and due to injuries. Right, coming out of this international break, injuries have been unkind to Arsenal. You could say that in the previous seasons we've been lucky with injuries, and that is the one thing that you cannot predict, how your season's going to go due to injuries. But yeah, I want to get into the comments here as well. Luca's in here. Big up. Thanks for being here, Luca. Canterbury Gunner, ready. Hi, Ray, you need a coffee. I already had my coffee. So, yeah, maybe I'm a bit tired. It's early morning. Some people on the West Coast here have to wake up at about 5 a.m., 6 a.m. to watch the game. I know Stan's going to get up early to watch the game as well. Mr. Tom, thanks for being here. Ray's t-shirt is excellent. And Tom, a word for you. Leeds are not doing so well, but you can drop some games in that league and still come back and finish strong. So I'm hoping Leeds do come back and finish strong. A few wins will shoot you right up the table right now. Really is not feeling confident and would take a draw today. Well, really, I would say one thing is this Arsenal team and the way that we've constructed, especially the starting lineup, the starting players, the number of players that we can bring in to affect the game, you should feel more confident about your team. You should feel like that we can go to that side and that stadium and get your win. Go there, get your win that you need, and go home and do it, efficiently. Last season we were 3-0 up and conceded a couple of late goals. Due to the run-in being difficult. This time around, a lot of fans, not just the Arsenal fans, but maybe Aston Villa, Liverpool, Newcastle, they're feeling a little bit disheartened by what Man City are doing right now. And Man City have shot out of the blocks with 3-4 wins, and it looks daunting, but think about it this way. Arsenal are getting some of the most difficult games out of the way first. And, one that we already played was going to Villa Park, and we went and won there. Okay, we had a little bit of fortune with David Raya and Ollie Watkins. David Raya being excellent, Ollie Watkins not being clinical enough. Had 2 chances, one in the first half, one in the second half, and David Raya stood strong and saved the day for us at the end of the day. So yeah, listen, feel confident. Really, it's the only way. You feel confident, and on any given day in the Premier League, teams can lose. Hawkwin, thank you for being here as well. I'm glad that people are going to be here with me as we explore the lineup, which will be announced in about 5 or 6 minutes from now. The starting lineup, it's going to be very interesting. I think let's not lose our stuff about the lineup, because Mikel Arteta is going to pick a lineup that not every Arsenal fan is going to believe in or feel confident about. But it will be interesting in terms of what he does in midfield. Will he stick with the old guard, which is something that I was tempted to bring Jorginho in alongside Partey in my lineup, But I went with Havertz, bringing Havertz back alongside Partey and one Airy. We're asking Partey to do a lot, but I think transitioning on this Tottenham team and catching them on the break and in possession high up will be key to this game. Other things that Mikel Arteta could do is, keep Fade with Ethan Moneri, which is what I've done, put him in the starting lineup, or bring in an actual defender in midfield. We have a number of options at left back. Zinchenko can play left back. Timber can play left back. Calafiori could play as well. Kivior could play. So I think we need to be defensively sound with five at the back. One of them being David Raya, and four defenders that we all know and love now. They probably named themselves: Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, and White. Put Partey in front of that. Put Havertz back in midfield, and give Waneri the base behind him to express himself. I am hearing that Raheem Sterling is going to be sitting on the bench today, so he'll be an option coming off. So I went with Martinelli on the left, Saka on the right. Two very, very fast wingers, and Trossard, who can play that false nine and withdraw into midfield and help midfield if we're not winning that battle. Mr. Thompson, I'm not going to push the panic button after the first loss of the season. That would be naive. Yeah, I didn't know that was the first loss. You got a few draws in there as well, so that's not bad. Mr. Tom wants some love, right? North London Derby away is more important, not to lose to them. Exactly. Hi, Gary. Good morning. How are you?
Hey there, Ray.
So I did have my coffee. It does feel like I just woke up. I've been up about an hour. How are you feeling about today, Gary?
Well, I'm hoping for a better football day. Yesterday was not a good football day. I mean, it was a football day, but it was a good day. It wasn't a good
Yeah.
football day.
So
Yeah.
what disappointed you about yesterday? I'm trying
Oh,
to pick your brain
my,
here.
my Gators suck.
Okay. I didn't know that.
So
They
that's one
lost.
thing. Hello, everybody in the chat.
So I call it your personal portfolio. So one of the teams in your personal portfolio let you
Yeah,
down, Gary.
yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
But it was my anniversary, so it was a good day.
Good.
So,
Hope
yeah,
you did something special.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, it's the
yeah,
dodgy game for us, says
yeah.
Hawkwind.
I was
Oscar
hoping, I was
Piastri.
hoping yesterday that Villa would collapse, but Everton, as Mr. Tom has proven, is they love the 2-0 loss.
They love to be 2-0 up and concede 3 goals. That's what they love to do. They did that to me against Bournemouth, which I know I was watching your live stream at the time, and Tom took great satisfaction that day in the collapse of Everton at the hands of Bournemouth at the time.
Yeah, yeah,
This weekend I went for Chelsea, and they went and got.
yeah. I feel like people say you create your own luck and stuff, but I don't think we're getting the luck. Like the way that Chelsea won, the way that Villa won.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I was hoping a little bit for a big surprise, but City is City. I mean, you go up 1-0 on them, you have to continue to play for the rest for 89 minutes, and if you don't do that, they will finish you off. But it still could have been a good game. But Liverpool, that was a big surprise, right? So for everybody saying, guess what? We could be 8 points behind Liverpool if we don't win our next two games. Well, that's out the window. So things kind of, football did show us that, guess what? Not everybody is a City right now.
Yeah.
So, um,
Look, that's what's disappointing is that we need pressure to be applied to Manchester City. We if we win today, Gary, and it's possible. It's a strong possibility we can win today. We'll probably go second by my calculation,
yeah,
and be
no, we'll be second because
two
we're the
points behind them. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
there's no
So
team that can get to 10. Well, you know what? Newcastle can get to 10 points, but they would have to win by
mhm.
more than more 2 goals more than whatever we win by.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
So
All
I
right.
don't even know who
So
they play. They play Wolves today, so that's not an
yeah.
easy game. So yeah.
All
No.
right. The team is out, Gary.
Oh, okay.
So let's go check that out.
All right.
Or ready, if you can just call it out. I will. Martin Krapex Jr. is here as well. So I'm curious myself as to how the team will present itself.
Okay. All right. Well, this confirms a lot.
Okay.
Okay. This team confirms a lot. Oh my gosh.
All right, so I've got David Raya, Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, White. Is that your back 4, 5?
Yeah, that's what it says on that's what it says on
Partey,
Arsenal. Is it Arsenal
Partey's
site?
in.
Partey and Jordan. So the lineup is Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Timber on the back line. Partey, Jorginho, and I assume it's Trossard in the midfield. Saka, Martinelli, and Havertz up top. So we are outside of Sterling right now, and Jesus. Jesus is on the bench. So we are going with. I mean, I don't like the lineup because I don't like Jorginho and Partey playing together. I think they
Yeah,
are in
yeah.
my eyes one player. Who plays 90 minutes. You decide how you want to break up the 90 minutes. But I kind of feel like we're stretching ourselves thin early in the week, and
Yeah.
I
Well,
think that might come
welcome,
back to haunt
Alonso.
us.
I think that we will get Declan Rice as well, so that's going to help as well. You know what I mean? Declan Rice on Thursday. I've got a strong feeling Havertz going to play midfield, and Trossard will be. So, like, that's the only thing. If you want to argue, is with the position that I put them in is Havertz and Trossard. I think
I,
Trossard might
if
play
that
him.
if Trossard if Havertz goes into midfield, how in the world are we getting the ball from the back line to the front line?
How will we get the ball from the back line to the front line? Yeah, I mean, you would want Trossard probably be more technically sound in midfield and Havertz up front. But yeah, that's
Well, to be fair, Jorginho's a good passer. He always has been a good passer, so I think that could work as well. But he has to be in open space to do that,
yeah.
which I think he can, given the opportunity. Um, but I know Gary, you don't like that
That's
pivot.
what
I guess with Jorginho. Jesus Christ.
really kind of confirming what I said. Trossard up top, Havertz in midfield. That's the more likely scenario, I think. I know we don't like it in terms of Havertz playing up front. He's been very, very good, not prolific, but he's given you something each and every game that he's played up top. Alonso.
Yeah, and I think if we saw some games last year where Trossard did start up top, him and Saka had some good chemistry. So I'm being optimistic here, of course, because I know some people don't like Partey and Jorginho, uh, and I know Gary don't like that idea because they're both not going to give you 90 minutes. Um, but that's also something to be cautious of is that which one doesn't show up, or at least I hope both of them show up today because we all know that Partey scored against Villa, but will he be able to have a mistake-free game? And Jorginho, we all know what happened last time, the first time they met last year, where Jorginho just was not focused enough and
Not in
led
rhythm.
to a goal. Yeah, so I think it's important that they get up to a good start at least and have Jorginho maybe play a little bit further up than Partey will. Um, like I said, Jorginho's a good passer. So that's a good plus for us to have.
And
And having Jesus and Sterling off the bench.
And Havertz is quite good in midfield with the duels as well. He will add something. He's got something to his game. The other thing, Gary, that I'm going to convince you about is we got Trossard and Martinelli alongside each other up front. And the last time was last year against Fulham, maybe. They played together, or 2 seasons ago against Fulham. And Trossard provided for Martinelli in that situation. So Now we don't have two players vying for the same position, and eventually one might give way, and Trossard might finish the game on the left, or Martinelli might finish the game on the left if one of the other two come off. But I think that Trossard can actually help Martinelli in this game and find him. You know what I mean? If you were unconvinced by Martinelli so far this season, that's what I would say.
Yeah, well,
Martinelli, Trossard.
we are unconvinced with Martinelli so far. So that's gonna be
The only other thing is, sorry, Gary, go ahead. Didn't want to cut you off.
No, it's too late.
I'm just excited for this game. The other thing is one area. Okay, there will be, like I said at the top of the show, there will be criticism of Mikel Arteta no matter what he did, because we all think differently. There's only one player that can pick the team, so he didn't. Some will frame it as he didn't have faith in one area to start a North London derby.
Then you'd be correct, right?
Well,
if you go into this season, you know where your depth is, what the issues are with your depth, right? You don't really have anybody behind Saka. You don't have anybody necessarily behind Odegaard, right?
Mm-hmm.
You definitely solidify your midfield with Moreno and Calafiori, but you don't back up anybody for Odegaard or Saka until that last day, all right? And even that's still a stretch. So if that's the case, for me, that means Nweri was the only player consistently playing behind Odegaard. I would expect if you you know what I mean. And if that's the case, then he would be the best suited to cover if that's how you set up your team, because that's what we can only tell by what we see.
Yeah.
Havertz can't play both center forward and the eight
midfield,
right? The left eight, right? He can't and he can't practice that way, and he's only there as a stopgap while we need it. Whereas everywhere else on the pitch, we have players that more like that's where they play. If they're not starting, they know where they're going to play.
Yeah.
We know Trossard can play anywhere on the front line, so that's easy. Your Calafioris, your Tomiyasu's, and Zinchenko's, all of that, they know where they're going to play. I think it's a big stretch for Havertz to come back, and now we just weaken two spots based on the way that we've been playing. Right, our best team is with Havertz up top, so now we've weakened that. Even if Trossard is having a good stretch, but long term, Havertz is up top, right? So you weaken two spots with the move.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think having the two, Jorginho and Partey, similar players, they both can split lines, but I think most teams, we'll see what they do. They'll probably put a lot of pressure on midfield, and how's that going to play out? I saw somebody wrote that with the two, with their high line, that might put a lot of pressure on us, and will they be able to keep up with that? With they're old guys.
How do you? Do we see Jorginho and Partey being a double pivot at the base of our midfield there?
You want to leave? Okay, go ahead.
So like I mentioned before, I think this is what I think will happen. I think Partey will play deeper. I think Jorginho will play more like a number 8 kind of. He'll be like between number 8 and number 6 kind of player, where he'll be deep lying playmaking role. I think he's capable of doing that, like something Cazorla used to do, be that deep lying and playmaking player, because he's more capable of giving that pass through the lines. And I think that's one of his strengths that we've seen in the past, where he's able to unlock a player. I forgot what it was actually. I think it was Villa 2 years ago, whenever he got a good pass onto Saka, and Saka got into I think Trossard it was, I think. Anyway, he's capable of doing that. And so I wouldn't say a double pivot. I think it'd be like gosh, what do you call it? Anyway, I'm sure it'll work out. And hopefully they do a good job. But yeah, I think you'll see more Jorginho playing a deep lining playmaking role.
Yeah. For me, I think that we will have to have that base of the two sixes pretty much. For me, anyway, and Havertz being that further forward player of the three in midfield. What are your thoughts, Gary, on the how we're going to set up? You know what I
Yeah,
mean in midfield.
I just don't like those two guys in the midfield for us. I just think that, I mean, one because I think it hurts us long term for this week anyways. But I know you shouldn't look days in the future, but I think
Yeah.
we kind of have to. Like I'd rather have the one, but like when you look at the bench, it kind of gives you a heads up as to where we actually are. When I think we've got four, 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah,
five,
kids.
five academy kids on the bench. Three names two names I have not ever seen
Yeah,
in Kakuri
yeah,
and Kabiya. Right, those are two
right.
names I've never.
Fabio and yeah,
So those are definitely academy kids. I assume that you're like, wow, okay. But then Heaven, Lou Skelly, and Wary, I didn't expect to see Heaven on our bench. Yeah, but that's what we got. Five academy kids. Based
Orange
on
Academy
based on
kids.
yeah, based on the past, Arteta, will he do that? If Nwary's only academy kid on the bench, maybe, but he's got five, which oof, like
right.
were they even practicing with the team? I don't know.
They had to have.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I want to give Tony a shout out for bringing his academy kids along.
No, no, we're not giving any shout outs
Tony
to
was
Tony.
driving the bus, Alonso. Tony was
That's
driving
why
the
we're
bus.
Right.
not giving no shout outs to Tony. I'm sorry.
Uh,
No props to Tony. Take that back.
One
but
area.
that is
Well,
just,
yeah, wow.
Yeah,
We
no,
got
take that back. We're not. No.
so Gary. We got the likes of Kivior, Sterling, and Gabriel Jesus being
no, no, Zinchenko,
the senior players on the
Zinchenko,
bench. Go
yeah.
ahead,
no,
Alonso.
No Zinchenko, no Calafiori. I mean, as much as I'm not a friend of Zinchenko, he is more senior than what we've got on our bench now. So,
Yeah,
and it's
as
not
we
he's not starting, so that's fine with me. But
what's his injury? His hamstring.
might be a niggle. It might be something very, very, very minor. Calafiori took that knock, as we know. And of course, the club is being very quiet about the exact diagnosis of Martin Odegaard. So on Thursday night, it was anywhere between 3 weeks and 3 months. Probably, I'm probably leaning toward the 3 months. Not wanting to be a Debbie Downer, but no news in this case is bad news when it comes to Arsenal. They usually say no news is good news, but no news when it comes to Arsenal is probably bad news. You know what I mean? And Mikel Arteta yesterday trying to be a little bit upbeat about it, saying they needed to conduct more tests on Martin Odegaard. How mad how we've got 6 left backs and 4 of them are out injured. Yeah, I want to say we're stacked in terms of numbers for left backs, but maybe 2 quality players in Timber and Calafiori so far in that left back position.
how
Really
do
said hope.
we don't have 6 left backs. He's making that number up.
Well, you think about it: Timber, Calafiori, Zinchenko, Kivior,
Tierney.
right?
We only Tomiyasu and Tierney are not in the lineup, right? And Zinchenko, that's 3. So where do we have? I guess we have 5, maybe.
You could do Kivior,
Oh, here we are. Okay, it's the 6. Yeah.
Miles Lewis Skelly.
We don't have 4 out. That's the thing. We don't have. We got 3
When it
out.
comes to substitutions today, Gary, you have to look at the senior players on the bench. So Sterling will get a run out today at some point. Jesus will probably come on at some point. And I don't know if Kivior is going to come on because we have enough quality there not to have Kivior. But one area should come on later in the game. Miles Lewis Skelly would be a candidate. And that's about it. We're probably looking at 4 substitutions. in this game. So, really said, I hope this teaches the club to rethink before letting players join national teams next time.
Well, yeah. Well, one is
Tricky.
Odegaard should never have played the second game. Like there should have been a phone call being made, right?
Yeah.
Don't like that
Yeah.
was already a
An
warning sign.
injury.
And then he goes in, and everybody doesn't think it was related, but I believe when you go into a game injured, or suspect, doubtful or whatever,
Yeah.
and then you get injured, and it, more because that those types of things happen. But I think he actually saw that happening. He could have gotten out of the way, but when you're not 100%, you don't get out of the way sometimes. So I kind of feel like that should have been a warning for him to come out. Calafiori's was a freak one. Same thing with Moreno. I mean, they're just freak injuries that you can't
legislate for.
You can't foresee. Like you could foresee Odegaard getting injured after he got injured the first time, right? After not only that, but he came out of the Brighton game because he got injured. So he was already injured going into the first international break game, gets injured there, and then gets injured again. So 3 games in a row he's gotten injured.
Yeah.
And Arteta's talking about, oh, we don't know when he'll be back, blah, blah. What? Stop. Stop, man. It's
I think they're being reticent to give us that information because most of the fan base won't be able to digest the fact that we're going to miss probably the one player in the squad who would have been deemed irreplaceable, or we don't have that many options for in Odegaard. Flipping over to their side, yeah, Gary, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that's the problem. Like we knew we needed depth. Since when? Since yesterday. Like since last year, since the year before, since the year before that. Like it's always been a case you need to have depth, right? Your starters aren't always gonna start every game, right? Like you look at we look at the numbers all the time, right? No, like we see our players how many minutes they play versus City, and you're like, they're playing an extra 5 to 10 games sometimes, and we're still hitting the same numbers on on Premier League games, and it's like you can't do that because it just doesn't work.
So I think what's likely to account for Martin Odegaard's absence today will be a change in formation where I feel like we'll play a double pivot, and we'll play. It's almost going to be a 4-2-3-1. Double pivot with Jorginho and Partey as your base. Havertz will be that forward creative role, and I think Trossard is going to give them fits because he's going to play that false 9 position and try to feed Martinelli and Saka on the wings, and inside left and inside right channels. Flipping to their side, Gary, and Arsene Wenger famously said, never worry about the opposition. So we're not going to focus too long about the opposition, but they have a decent front line, which you alluded to earlier, are going to give us some problems. Heung-min Son, Dominic Solanke, and Brandon Johnson up front. But we do have a very, very good, solid base to hold them down with, at least limit them to maybe 1 goal in this game, if at all a goal. Behind them, they have Kulusevski, Betancourt, and James Maddison. So I think we can get at that midfield if we get if we're able to get out past their press up front. We can transition on them quickly, and that maybe should be the game plan: is to defend with 6 players, 4 at the back. Alonso, what do you think? And then I'll go to Gary. Defend with 4 at the back and 2 holding midfielders, and then a spring forward and attack on them.
Well, my hope is that Partey and Jorginho just don't make any mistakes. I hope that they do play with the game, that the importance of this game matters to them both, and I think it does. Back four, we should be fine. I think Timber, you'll see him do a better job than what Zinchenko does as far as inverting. I think Ben White does a good job of that as well. So we shouldn't have any problem attacking their side. Yeah, I think their back line is kind of overrated to me. Maybe I'm being a little bit biased. And I think we all know that James Madison could be hurt at any given moment himself. So my best hope is that Ben White just messes up his son. I hope he'll rough him up. But at the end of the day, we know that Solanke came from Bournemouth. So it's a step up for him. So he has to prove himself to be that striker that they wanted, that they haven't had. So I think Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes have enough to off balance that, and they know how important this game is as well. So I think we'll be just fine defensively. Like I said, it'd be up to Partey and Jorginho to figure it out and to have a mistake-free game. I think that we'll win if they don't have any mistakes in them. So
yeah.
Again, you never know with those two because we saw what happened with Jorginho last time they played the first season and played at their place. So it's a bit risky, but I think hopefully that they'll understand what's at stake and we have a good game.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I was hoping against Brighton, Gary, that Jorginho would have gotten a run out and get some rhythm in his legs because now he's good. Now he's playing. But first of all, Gary, what are your thoughts on our back four versus their front three and midfield?
No. I mean, I think the only problems we've ever had, or we had going into this game, was our midfield. So for me, whatever front line we put in, I think we should be able to compete, especially in a game like this one. So never really concerned about the front line. Not concerned about our back line. Midfield is the only problem we have going in. So, Saka's going to do what he does. Martinelli was still waiting for Martinelli to show up. Right?
Ignite. Yeah.
Like he can run at the back line for a bit, but as you said, and you keep calling him out, and now he's probably stuck because he's heard it from you so many times. And you call him names, and now he's showing you it, and we can't get it out of his head. But he's out there running with a chicken without his head on, basically, just out there running around. And I think for him and for many players in football, when you have the ball and you're attacking the final third, there should be only one thing on your mind: score a goal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and in the last ditch effort, if you can't score a goal, you make sure one of your teammates can. All right. Yeah. Sometimes I don't know where he's going, and as you know, he gets himself deep, so he can't even make a good pass back. Or he doesn't have his head up, right, and he doesn't see that he has an early pass he can make and maybe make a continuing run. So there's just a lot of football tactical things that he's like missing in his approach. But in general, if he just cuts inside and tries to score a goal, I'll take that every time, because then at least there's a chance that it goes in and a shot will be taken. 9 times out of 10, we don't even end up with a shot. And I think we should be better than that.
Yeah, I think
Martinelli.
What's that, Alonso?
You're talking about Martinelli.
Martinelli, yeah. Listen, there is a possibility that we'll be we'll have over possession and less effectiveness. We want a little bit more balance in terms of working the ball close, but also getting that shot away that Gary wants to see and taking those shots as well. We don't want a game where Arsenal have 70% possession, but only 2 shots on target in the whole game. You know what I mean? Or 5 shots in total, something like that. I'm thinking about Tony when I'm saying these things, because you want to be a little bit more.
Why do you guys keep thinking about Tony?
He lives rent free. He just lives rent free.
You know what? Out of sight, out of mind. I don't even know who Tony is.
But he should be here as well. He signed up for this show this morning. But wouldn't something mad would be if Arteta does allow Havertz and Trossard to switch places within the game. That would be kind of mad and something that could happen because we know each of those players, Leandro Trossard and Kai Havertz, can play both of those positions between the 8 and, let's say, the 9. You know what I mean? So that would be a real false 9 to look for. And that would give the players marking Trossard, for instance, now they got to switch to Havertz. You know what I mean? It could be crazy that way. So listen, I think Jorginho is going to skip her aside. We'll get out of here so that people can go and enjoy the build up to the game. And I think Gary may be joining Ryan as well. I'm not sure. But yeah, we'll get out of here with predictions. Alonso, I'm going to stick with my 2-1 prediction.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I'm going 3-1 to Arsenal. I want Kai Havertz to score so I can sing that song Waka 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 oh, $16 million injury.
We'll
Kai
be
Havertz
singing that
again.
a decent amount of times this season. Hopefully 20 plus times this season we'll be singing
Hopefully it'll be today.
that. Exactly. Hopefully today. Yeah, I think there's a good chance. I'm going to lean into what Gary's been saying, and I want to say good things about Martinelli later today on the Sunday show. So go for Martinelli to score the first goal, and I'll go with Trossard. Yeah, the two of them to get the goals that we need. Trossard's been key away from home in the run-in, and he pops up in big important games. Gary, I'm going with a 2-1 win.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people thinking we're just going to be a draw, and I think that would be a letdown for us.
Yes.
I think we need. This is the type of game we need to actually come in with a plan, with whatever players we got, and as starters, we should be able to. By the time we start thinking about subs, we should have a lead that we're just trying to either to expand on, basically, not hold on to, because we don't really have much defensive answers on the bench. We should we be putting pressure on them and maybe pulling away from them as opposed to trying to hold on to a 1-goal lead. We're not good at that sometimes. Plus, I think we're better sometimes pushing forward than trying to settle. So, a lot of people think Spurs, the best way to beat Spurs, I even said it, that team really is to let them have some possession and counter them, because they're not, the way they play leaves them vulnerable. So we should be able to do that with Martinelli.
Right.
I had 3-0. That's what we should, that's for me, a 3-0 is what I would like, was my prediction. Like I said, a
3-0.
draw would be
Right.
a draw would be
a draw would be disappointing. On the back of the Brighton result, and you can't let Man City get away too much. But listen, we'll see what happens. We'll be back for the Super Sunday show. Thanks, Gary and Alonso, for joining today. And Tony, where are you, Tony? Take care, boys, girls. Come on, you Gunners.